So, putting together what we've talked about so far, how do you go about tutoring a learner for reading? Next, we're going to show you snapshots of how you might do just that. Each video will highlight a different step in the process. In the following video, the tutor will model good reading for the learner. This really helps learners to pronounce sounds that are not part of their native language. It also helps learners better understand punctuation and meaning through tone and inflection, and shows a good pace for reading speed.
Today we're going to work on this reading. I would like you to read it silently. Then I will read it out loud. And as I do, what I'd like you to do is pay attention to my voice and how I pronounce the words, and how if there's a comma, I'll pause or stop when there's a period, or what my voice sounds like when there's a question mark. And then when I'm finished, you'll have a chance to read it out loud. Okay? Okay. All right, let's begin. Okay.
I'm not sure what this word means.
Okay, well, let's see first if we can get the meaning of the whole passage, the whole idea, and then we'll go back later and look at individual words.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so now I'm going to read it out loud, and you can follow along silently, or you can read it out loud with me if you like.
No.
Whatever you prefer. No?
I'll be silent.
Okay, so let's go ahead. The Taj Mahal is named for Mumtaz Mahal. She was the wife of Indian ruler Shah Jahan. When his beloved wife died, Shah Jahan ordered that a great tomb be built in her memory. Work began on the Taj Mahal in 1632. It took 20,000 workers more than 20 years to complete. The huge white marble tomb is surrounded by gardens and fountains. A long reflecting pool is set in front of it. The Taj Mahal is India's most famous monument.
Did you notice how the tutor explained to the learner what they were going to do, then asked the learner what they had heard? In the next video, the learner will read the passage that the tutor just read. Watch what the tutor does while the learner is reading.
Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead and read this to me out loud.
The Taj Mahal is named for Mumtaz Mahal. She was the wife of Indian ruler Shah Jahan. When his beloved wife died, Shah Jahan ordered that a great tomb be built in her memory. Work began on the Taj Mahal in 1632. It took 20,000 workers more than 20 years to complete. The huge white marble tomb is surrounded by gardens and fountains. A long reflecting pool is set in front of it. The Taj Mahal is India's most famous monument.
Good, great.
Did you notice the tutor let the learner finish the passage without making any corrections and kept listening and nodding even when the learner looked up and seemed a little unsure? A big key to understanding what you read is discussing it, so we know what the learner does and doesn't know. Does the learner understand all the words, how to pronounce them, and what they mean? Does the learner need more information about the subject to fully understand the meaning? Many of our learners don't like to admit that they just don't know. Watch how the tutor finds out what the learner does and does not know.
I really like the way you read that. You stopped, yes, you stopped at all the right places and you paused at the right places and it sounded very natural. Now, which words were you having trouble with?
Well, this word, like beloved, I've never seen that word.
Okay, all right, well, let's take a look at it. Why don't you try this? Put your thumb over the word and read the sentence without the word in it at all.
When his wife died, Shah Jahan ordered that a great tomb would be built in her name.
Okay, so why do you think he would build a big monument to his wife after she died? You don't know? Okay, well, that's all right. Let's take a look at it a different way. Let's look at the word by itself, right? So if we look at the word and you put one finger over the beginning, the BE part, right? Now put another finger over the D at the end. What word are you left with? Oh, look, right. So knowing that, why do you think the ruler built this monument to his wife after she died?
Because he loved her.
Right, exactly right.
Oh, well, then that's a good word to know.
Great, now you have a new word. So tell me, let's talk about monuments for a little bit. What are there any famous monuments or what type of monuments are in your country?
Oh, very famous. Machu Picchu.
Oh, okay.
Very famous.
And what's special about Machu Picchu?
Well, it was built a long time ago by the Incas.
Oh, all right.
There's a whole community.
Wow, that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
It's very cool.
Did you notice how the tutor asked what words the learner didn't know? And then how the tutor asked what the learner already knew about the subject? All of VLP's reading workbooks have questions after the readings. Use these questions alone or as a guide to creating more questions. Think of a book club where you gain greater understanding through answering focused questions. Watch how the tutor does this.
Okay, now let's take a look at a few questions to see if you understood the details of the passage. Okay. I know, you can get it. All right. First, why was the Taj Mahal built?
The ruler really loved his wife.
Okay.
And when she died, he built a monument to her.
Right, good. And when was it built?
1632.
Right. Now, was it finished in that same year?
Oh, no. 20 years later.
20 years later. Good. And how many people did it take to build it?
20,000. I remember 20 and 20. 20,000.
Right. 20 years, 20,000. Correct. How about the features? What features does the Taj Mahal have?
Oh, it must be very, very beautiful. It's this big, beautiful building, and it has gardens and fountains and some sort of water.
It does. You're right. It does have all of those. Now let's talk a little bit about the subject, about monuments. What's the monuments in this area where we live?
Oh, many. In D.C.? Yeah,
Yes.
many monuments in D.C.
Okay, can you think of the names of any?
There's the Washington Monument.
Right.
Yeah, that's a very tall monument in D.C. And there's Lincoln Monument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, now why do you think that those monuments were built?
Well, for presidents that were very important. Yeah.
Okay, good, yes. Presidents or other maybe important people helpful in American history. Those would be some reasons. Now, is there anyone nowadays that you can think of that you think deserves having a monument built?
Did you see how the tutor asked questions from the book and then went beyond those questions to check for deeper understanding? If we know something well enough to retell it in our own words, we understand it pretty well. So, having your learner retell, in their own words, what the reading is about is very important to seeing if the learner got it, that is, got the meaning of what they read. Look to see if the learner can give general meaning and details, and in the right order. Make sure to ask the learner if they learned anything new.
So now, let's close the book and see if you can tell me what you just read. That'll give us a good idea of what you understood.
Okay, in India, this important guy, Shah Jahan, built a monument to his wife he loved, beloved.
Good.
His wife, and it is a beautiful building. It has gardens and fountains, and I think water. There's water there.
Yes.
There's water.
Yep.
It must be very, very beautiful.
Yeah, I think so. That's a really great job. Did you learn anything from this passage that you didn't already know before?
Oh, a whole lot. I didn't know it took 20 years. I didn't know it took 20,000 people. And that's easy to remember because it's about 20.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he built it for his wife. I've heard of the Taj Mahal, but I didn't know that.
Okay. Now, do you think there's anything else that you would like to know about the Taj Mahal that's not in here?
It must be so beautiful on the outside. I wonder what it's like on the inside. I bet it's really beautiful. But I'll never get to India.
Yeah, I haven't been to India either. I wonder what it's like on the inside too. Okay, let's do this. Let's make this plan. When you go home tonight, why don't you Google the Taj Mahal and see if you can find information on what it looks like inside. And then when we meet again next week, we'll talk about it.
Oh, cool. That's great. Great idea.
All right.
Did you see how the learner showed understanding of what was read? Can you see how this would help you as a tutor? Ask the learner what they want to know more about from the passage just read. Have them do some research and tell you what they learned. And have the learner write about what they've read or learned. Reading and writing go together. We'll be talking a lot more about writing in the next module. Looking back on these snapshots, can you see how this really helps the learner make meaning of what they read? Our learners improve their reading by reading. So find out what interests your learner and find something on those topics in the library. Your learner also needs to improve vocabulary and general knowledge, so find out what he or she wants to know more about, and you both can look for reading material on those subjects. Have your learner keep a list of new words found, and then actually use them when speaking or writing. And think back to the videos in this module and remember how the tutor and learner worked on good reading speed and also understanding of what is being read. Practice fluency, or good reading speed, and comprehension in every tutoring meeting. Here are some of the questions our tutors ask the most. What kind of books should my learner be reading? The answer is what we just mentioned, something the learner is interested in or needs to know. You'll know the approximate reading level of your learner from the learning recommendations you'll receive from your VLP specialist, and your specialist can also suggest appropriate reading materials. Should we work on everything in one meeting? You probably won't have time to cover all the steps we've outlined here in one tutoring meeting. Take it piece by piece and just be sure the learner is comfortable and confident before moving on to the next piece. What if I'm not comfortable tutoring reading? Don't worry, VLP won't ask you to tutor anything that you are not comfortable with. Remember, you'll know what the learner needs before you even accept the tutoring assignment, and you can say yes or no. And finally, we'd like to make this point. So many of our learners avoid reading, and reading is exactly what will make them better readers. Why do you think our struggling readers avoid reading? Please give this some thought now. Congratulations, you've completed the reading module. Please go on to the tutoring writing module and contact VLP if you have any questions or concerns.